What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I will be reviewing yet another beer from the Fox Farm Brewery, and they're out of Salem, Connecticut, and this is their Burrow. So they're calling this one a Double IPA that comes in at 8.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just under 6 weeks old, and I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Steven, for hooking me up with this one. I'll post a link in the description box to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Steven hooked me up with, and he hooked me up with two different Fox Farm beers. I already reviewed their Allora, which was a Citra and Mosaic IPA at 6.4%, and it was really tasty, just a crushable low ABV IPA. And I'm really excited about this one because this one is brewed with Mosaic and Motueka hops, and it's relatively fresh, and huge thanks to Steven for this one. So let's crack it open, get in the glass, see what we got going on. So the first Fox Farm beer I've had was Tangle, a little bit older, didn't review it. It was solid, but I'm sure fresh it would have been great. And then the Allura was the second one I had, the first one I reviewed, and it was quite tasty. So I'm hoping for big things from this one, and that looks beautiful. All right, so go like that, put this over here. So yeah, this has a little bit more of that honey orange or kind of like deeper orange color than Allura had. Very murky and turbid, can't say through it. About a 2.5, just over 2 finger of the really tightly compacted, bubbles in the head. Looks beautiful, looks super creamy. It's basically off-white, I would say, not bright white, off-white. That looks beautiful in the glass though. Let's get a nose. Oh, what? Wow, that has a really bright and like fresh kind of quality to it. I know that's so generic to say, but the elements of the nose from the first sip, like the quality of it is basically freshness. Did I have this correctly looking at you guys? I don't know. Wow, I'm getting like white fruits on this one, like white or like a pear, kiwi, something like that. I am going to inhale the nose. Yeah, I would say like there's pear, there's pear, kiwi, maybe a little like passion fruit, lemon, lime. Motueka seems to be screaming more so than the Mosaic. Maybe a slight berry note from the Mosaic, but not really. There's a nice like dank quality to the nose as well. The tonality of this beer is way different than a lot of beers I've had recently when you're talking about hop forward beers. It smells sweet. It smells actually really sweet. And I don't feel like it's going to be super sweet, but it has like a nice sweet fruity component. Not a lot of citrus. It's all about stone and tropical fruits, and more just like tropical than anything. Yeah, pear and kiwi, man. What the? I don't know. Yeah, not much more to say about it. I'm keep on going back, but it's very, very. I was gonna say simplistic, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's not really changing at all. A lot of times when you go back for a sniff or a taste, you get different things. I'm really getting the same thing: pear, kiwi, passion fruit, maybe a touch of that berry. Touch of like a candied lemon lime, which I get from Motueka sometimes. But yeah, it smells really good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Steven. Oh, yeah, that's different. That's different in a good way. But I think this one's like higher side of medium. It has a little bit half to 8.2. The mouthfeel. It has a little bit more carbonation than I think the Allura had, but it's still, soft and smooth, not necessarily creamy, but the bodies kind of throw me for a loop. This is a little bit bigger than I thought at 8.2%, which is nice, cool. Tastes right at the forefront. I'm hit with a honeydew melon, a cantaloupe. I'm getting big melon vibes right at the front of the palate, which I didn't get at all in the nose. Yeah, honeydew melon. It's sweeter. After that, a little bit of that pear and kiwi. It transitions into passion fruit for me. And those are pretty much the predominant notes. There's maybe an underlying like candied lemon lime thing that I was getting in the nose, but I think I'm stretching for that because I get that a lot of times with Motueka's lemon lime, and a lot of times it's candied. But it's really not there 100%. Like it's like shades of that. Midway through the palate, I'm hit with this really nice dank herbal quality. It's almost like a basil or a thyme, but maybe not. You know what? I don't actually take that back. It's more of like a weeds, like pulling weeds or like tomato stalk or something like that, where there's a green essence to this one, and it has a dankness, but it's not necessarily herbaceous. It's more of like that weedy green kind of vegetal matter, but it's not like a hop burn. It's just like actual like a green kind of taste. Finishes with a mild bitterness, semi-dry, leans a little bit sweeter. And I kind of figured that from the nose. I knew this was going to be sweeter, but this is not cloying or anything. No issues with that. I just think it leans a little bit sweeter. There's an underlying like bready kind of malt sensation, but I'm just trying to pick apart the beer. So it's not like, it's not something that is very noticeable, but as I'm sitting here trying to taste, like, yeah, there's an underlying breadiness. This is really drinkable. I can't tell you it's 8.2% outside of specifically the body. There's no astringency on the palate, no warming in the chest, nothing. Really easy drinking 8.2% beer, which is scary. Do I like this as much as their Allora, which was a 6.4% Citron Mosaic IPA? I don't think I do, but I think it's close. I gave that beer a 4.35 out of 5. I think this is very close to that beer, but I think what that beer did with almost 2% lower was more in my wheelhouse than this one. I like that honeydew melon, that the kiwi, the pear, the passion fruit. I like the different characters I'm getting here. It's just, I feel like the Motueka is shining more so than the Mosaic, but maybe that Mosaic's giving me that like weedy green thing on the back of the palate. Could be the Motueka, but I'm not getting, typically Mosaic, you get kind of berry. A lot of people get blueberry, sometimes red berry, a lot of tropical notes. It could be just the beers or the hops are working in conjunction with one another. Could definitely be that. I feel like the Motueka is kind of taking charge in this beer. At the end of the day, is this a good beer? Yeah. Is it as good as Allora? Close, but no cigar. But this is a fun fucking beer. And again, I don't get, like, I've heard people say pear and kiwi, and I've said it a couple times, but it's not something I necessarily get, like those whiter fruits or the lighter fruits as well, especially a pear. But I'm definitely getting that here, and it makes for an enjoyable, different experience. Because let's be honest, if I'm reviewing 3 to 4 different IPAs per week, and I usually alternate where I'll post an IPA, something different style, IPA, different style. So I usually review like 3 or 4, maybe 5 per week max. It's tough to start describing the beer differently because so many of them are using similar hops. So many of them are in the same wheelhouse in terms of ABV. So you start getting in a rut where you're just saying the same stuff over and over. This beer doesn't have that problem. I think this beer is bringing something different to the table. But it's not bringing it to the table in an, oh my God, over-the-top amazing way. It's bringing it to a high-quality beer here. It's pretty well-balanced, lean, slightly sweet. You can't really taste the alcohol. It hides it extremely well. There's different characters here. It's really good. It's just not as good as their Allora to me, and I really like that one. So I'm going to give Burrow their double IPA from Fox Farm. I'm going to give that a straight 4.25 out of 5. I gave the Allora 4.35, so I think that's a fair score for this one if I'm comparing it to the other one, even though they're two completely different beers. One's an IPA at 6.4. This one is a double IPA at 8.2. So what can I say? Fox Farm, 2 for 2 of the beers that I've had fresh. I'd love to try more from them. Even I want the non-hoppy stuff. Like they do like a dark lager, they do smoked beers. I want to try stuff like that because I want to see the different styles that they produce, because that's where I think you really tell if a brewery is good or not. Yeah, if they're kicking out hazies and they're great, sure, that's awesome. But like if you're doing like a Czech style dark lager or something, or you're doing a smoked beer and you're doing it well, sign me up. That means you know what the hell you're doing. And I know they do beers like that, so I'd love to try some of them. Price point availability, I believe this was $4.75 a can at the brewery, so you're talking $19 a 4-pack. For something that's 8.2% double IPA, yeah, that's the going rate, maybe even a little cheaper. A lot of other half stuff's around 20, so it's $1 cheaper per 4-pack. The beauty is you can buy single cans, and I wish more breweries would do that so you don't have to buy 4-packs, because you don't always know if you're going to like the beer. I don't want to go to a brewery and pay $20 a 4-pack. I drink one of the beers, and I'm like, it's not that great, because then you just basically wasted $15 for no reason. The availability, pretty sure they're brewery only. If anybody out there wants to correct me, Steven, anybody else, let me know. I can't thank Steven enough for the beer mail. He outdid himself. The fact that I got to try and review 2 different Fox Farm beers is fantastic. It blows my mind. He sent me some awesome beers in addition to that. So I can't wait to get into all of them. This is actually, I don't know what order you're going to see this in, but This is the third beer I've reviewed from his package so far, and I got another 9 to go, so I am super stoked. So thanks again to Steven for all these goodies. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. If you've had this one before, anything from Fox Farm, post in the comments. Let me know. That's what this is all about. You know, the back and forth, the quid pro quo, as a good friend of mine, a fellow beer tuber, DJ over at DJ's Brew Tube would say. That's what makes this fun. Somebody coming in and saying, I had that one, I loved it. I disagree with you, or I agree with you, or whatever. I love talking it because we all have different palates, we all have different tastes and stuff. That's what makes beer tubing fun, seeing what other people think about the same beers you're drinking. Anyway, long enough review. Till the next one, cheers.